Well, we welcome you back here. It is Off the Wall on the Score, presented by BTB Moving here on this Friday, August 27th. Welcome in, everybody. Oh, boy, great to have you with us. Great to catch up with Zach Mandera there, and good to always talk with him. He is a guy that I have been covering for a real long time, and always fun to find out how things are going for him. And I hope things go well for him as they get into their season with Portland State. Well, if you are watching on our Facebook channel, you will see that it is time for our favorite segment on a Friday during the football season, and it is our first, and we are excited about it. Let's check in with him because I think he was pulling over the boat. He has been out on vacation fishing for the last, 2 weeks or something here, it seems like. Josh joining us from waters unknown. I think he's over on the coast somewhere. Josh checking in with us. How you doing, bud?
Oh, pretty good. And yourself, Jerry?
Hey, I'm hanging in there. It's good to have you here with us, and good to get back to our fun segment and our fun portion of the show where we pick some football games. You ready to do this?
I am absolutely ready to do this. Week 0.
Yes, time for Week 0 football here. We'll do it in order. I'll go first, Josh first, me first, Josh first, and the 4 games we got to pick here. So let's get it started. It is our inaugural and our first episode of Weekly Wagers here for the fall 2021 season.
It's football season, and there are games this weekend. It's time for Weekly Wagers, where the money is pretend and the picks are highly questionable.
All righty, it is time to get back into it, and I meant to do this. I forgot to bring it up here. Weekly Wagers last year, Josh did get the better of me. We did it, for, let's see here, I think 25 different weeks or something like that. We picked a lot of games last year, college and NFL, and Josh ended up on the right side of things, picking 52% of his games correct against the spread. I was at 45%. It did not go the best for me last year. He got the win. He got to pie me in the face. But we got to get into it here. We got 4 games to pick today. We are doing Nebraska and Illinois, Yukon at Fresno State. We've got Hawaii at UCLA, and University of Texas, El Paso at New Mexico State. Our 4 games going on. And yeah, I'll get it started here for us, buddy. Let's go ahead and start with that first one. Nebraska at Illinois. It is a Big Ten showdown to start things off. Nothing like jumping into it early with a Week 0 game and jumping right into conference play for the Cornhuskers and the Salukis. Let's see here. The Illini, I think. Whatever they are. Off-the-field distractions. Let's get back to the story here. Off-the-field distractions for the Cornhuskers. They've got the coach on a hot seat, must-win early games, starting out on the road. Definitely a lot of pressure on the Cornhuskers early in their season. Illinois, they're not going to be world beaters this year, by my take. They've got a new coach who's got plenty of experience winning in the Big Ten. That is Brett Bielema, who used to coach at Wisconsin. I think he's going to have them fired up for the home crowd in their season opener against a team that's always got plenty of kind of recognition behind them. Scott Frost has not really proven that he can win at this level. He did well at UCF, but when he took over at Nebraska, he's not been able to win at a consistent level there. I do think Nebraska wins this opening game, but I'm going to take Illinois covering with the 7 points in the season opener.
Yeah, that's the exact same thing that I had. I believe that Illinois is going to cover. Scott Frost actually, is, like you said, has got the pressure on him.
Yeah.
He's lost 2 of his last 3 season openers as well. So that gives you a little bit of pause there. So I am going to take the Fighting in Illini, however you say that.
The Illini?
Yeah, I'm going to take them to cover the spread. But I think Nebraska can get a win here.
Yeah, I think that they're going to squeak out of this one, but I think it's going to be a pretty close game in that matchup. So it should be a good, fun way to start things off with the college football season there in the Big Ten. Our next matchup of the day, it's Yukon at Fresno State. Right now, Fresno State, a 27.5-point favorite in this matchup. You go ahead there, buddy. What are you thinking in this one?
All right, so Yukon took a year off last year because of COVID. This is going to be their first time back on the field, and they're going to face Fresno State that's looking to click before they meet Oregon on September 4th. So next week they're going to end up meeting Oregon. So they got a lot of building stones they got to figure out right now. Jake Henner, their quarterback, averaged 336.8 passing yards per game last season, but the Bulldogs struggled on the defensive side. Perhaps Yukon can control some clock with running back Kevin Mesa, but who stayed last season after rushing for only 1,000 yards in 2019 and 2020. I'm going to sit there and say that Fresno State wins this ball game, but I think they fail to cover that spread. That's a pretty large spread.
So he's taken Yukon with the 27.5 points. It is a huge number for week 1 or week 0. Yukon didn't play a season last year. Folks might remember that. They were one of 2 teams in the country that didn't play any games last year. I found this number here. In 3 years, Yukon is 6-30, with 30 of those losses coming by an average of 26.5 points. So 6-30 in 3 years. In 3 years, all 30 of those losses have been by an average of 26.5 points. That is a lot of losses, and that is a lot of points given up. Fresno State, as you were talking about there, they do return quality number of players, including good running backs and wide receivers to distribute the ball to. But I agree. I think it is too big of a number to try and cover. I think Yukon, with a season off, they were kind of starting to build some momentum in 2019. They've had a lot of guys that are coming back that have been waiting for this for 2 years. I think Yukon keeps it respectable, and I think that, with the 27.5 points in their pocket, I'm going to lean the same way with you there, buddy, as we fall in line here for week 0 so far through the first 2 games. Next up will be Hawaii at UCLA, and this, again, one that Zach Mandera and his crew there at Portland State are going to be watching closely as they take on Hawaii in their season opener on September 4th. But the Warriors making the trip to Los Angeles to take on Chip Kelly and the Bruins. UCLA a 17.5-point favorite in this one at home. I'll go ahead and start out here. Once again, it's another pretty decent-sized line, 17.5 points for the first game of the season. But I'm thinking with LSU looming in the second game of the season for the UCLA Bruins, they want to make a good impression as they start out the season. Chip Kelly, he may not go all that deep into the playbook. They might keep things a little vanilla, but I think he wants to show that they have what it takes to possibly knock off LSU out of the SEC in week 2 of their season. So I think that UCLA, they can show what they've got in this one, show that they've got some promise for this season, and that Chip Kelly maybe has a chance to try and earn some little bit of credibility with his job possibly on the line this year. I think that UCLA finds a way to cover in this game with the 17.5 points.
All right, I guess we're going to stay on the same line there to agree on that one. But I am also going to take UCLA to win that one. It gives me a little bit of pause, though, because Hawaii was 4-2 against the spread as underdogs last year. That does give me pause. But like you said, Chip Kelly's job is on the hot seat. Right? He's on the hot seat this year for sure. But it's at UCLA, and I think he's finally going to get his players in the entire season. So I think that his scheme and everything else is going to work out for him. We'll see. He's done me wrong a couple times last year, but I'm going to trust him this time around and give him the benefit of the doubt.
So we both will fall on the Chip Kelly train here for week 1, saying that the Bruins will have enough to get past the 17.5 points there. I don't know that they're going to go too deep in the playbook with LSU looming. I don't think they want to give away all their secrets. So I do wonder if they maybe kind of let up late in this game, or maybe get some secondary guys in and get some different looks that maybe puts a lot on tape for LSU to try and consider the possibilities. So I do kind of wonder with the big number there, but I'm going to stick with Chip Kelly, as I think he wants to make a point that they are going to be able to win the next week against LSU as well. We wrap things up. It is UTEP at New Mexico State. It is a 10-point line. New Mexico State at home is the underdog. You're up to finish things off for us here, Josh.
All right, so we're going with another school that was off, did not play last year. New Mexico did not play because of COVID last year, and so this is their first time back on the field with over a year. UTEP was 3-5 last season, but only had one of those victories against an FBS opponent, which was University of Louisiana Monroe. If you're staying up late for this one, then you might get a thriller, a Pac-12 after dark type of deal. The Miners are 2-3 against the spread as a favorite the last 4 seasons. So I think UTEP wins this one, but I think New Mexico State is going to be able to cover that spread.
Oh, okay. Well, we've got our first difference here because, I think it could be one of those setups where neither team's all that good, which leads to a fun competitive game. I agree with you. I think that it definitely could be one that is an entertaining late-night kind of crazy game. But New Mexico State, The Athletic recently ranked all 130 teams in FBS football, and New Mexico State came in at number 130. So I don't know if I can take the worst team in college football, even with 10 points. I'm going to take UTEP in that final matchup of our weekly wagers here for week 1 of the season. There is a 5th game on the season, Southern Utah and San Jose State, I think, but it was an FCS school in there. And to be honest, if you're watching on the Facebook stream, I ran out of room in the graphic when I realized there was 5 games. So we're sticking with 4 for this week as we kick things off with weekly wagers. There you go. Those are the numbers. We're both taking Illinois +7, Yukon +27.5, UCLA -17.5, and we're splitting between UTEP and New Mexico State with UTEP favored by 10. That is our first weekly wagers in the books here.